describe the scene here and what transpired?
I would describe it as bizarre and breathtaking, seeing everything that we've been faced with today.
We are following a shocking mystery that's taken place on this massive property in Texas. That video per Fox 26 in Houston. A mom is being investigated for allegedly trying to drown her 3 children in a pond, possibly after she drugged them with NyQuil. Dispatch chatter per Broadcastify.
You're gonna have 4 kids hospitalized on NyQuil, multiple bottles on scene.
Deputies say the mom and her children were rushed to the hospital, and as we speak, the mom and one of the children are in critical condition, and there are so many questions unanswered at this point, including for the father. We'll talk about his level of cooperation. We're on the case, presented by Law&Crime. I'm Chris Stewart. This situation, as you heard law enforcement say there, is just bizarre because there's still so much information that needs to come out. But I want to lay out what we do know in a story that is starting to get a lot of attention. So this all began before 7 o'clock in the morning in Liberty County, Texas, which is northwest of Houston, on Monday. And take a look at this home where there was a major law enforcement presence. This is per KPRC TV. And you can see it's a huge property. It's down a rural country road, has a long driveway. This is outside the community of Dayton, Texas. Now here's what the Liberty County Sheriff's Office told media right outside the house per Fox 26 in Houston.
The information that we received was that the children and the mother were by the water, and this came in from the dad. The children and the mother were by the water and that it was possible that the mother was trying to do something to the kids. The first arriving deputies arrived on scene. All the kids were out of the water, from what I was told. The 11-year-old was being worked on by the first deputy that arrived on scene until EMS could arrive. She did regain consciousness somewhat, but she is one of the ones that is listed in critical condition. Upon deputies arriving to the scene, the mother was still in the water and had to be pulled from the water. The mother did not she was not conscious upon bringing her out of the water at that time. She did have a heartbeat, but she was not breathing on her own, and she was not talking or coherent at all.
Now you can see on this map from Google Earth that this home, it has a pond in the back of the house, very big property. And here's some of the chatter on the radio per Broadcastify as law enforcement and firefighters were beginning to respond.
Be advised, we have patient update. You're going to have an underage female, unconscious but breathing. She jumped into the water after her kids. No response at this time.
So it does appear that when this call first came in, deputies and dispatchers believed that this could be a case where the children came in contact with NyQuil in some capacity and the mom jumped in after the kids. The deputies say it was the father of the children who called 911.
He stated he heard some commotion in the front yard, possibly yelling from the kids. The father comes outside, calls 911, and it's our belief that the father is the one that pulled some of the kids out of the water. This is an active investigation. We've had investigators down at Memorial Hermann. We've got investigators behind us. We have conducted a search of the house, the residence. There's numerous locations on the house around the house that we're looking at, looking for any kind of evidence that we can find that would lead us to why this tragic event happened today.
Now, the Liberty County Sheriff's Office gave that news conference right outside the home's front gate. It reads Rancho Monte Carlo. Now, it is still unclear at the time of this recording who the people are who live in this home. But again, we're talking about a mom who allegedly poisoned an 11-year-old, a 6-year-old, and a 15-year-old. Now, the Sheriff's Office was asked about NyQuil because that radio chatter made it into several news articles, and here's what he said.
We are investigating that aspect to see if there was any type of alcohol or any type of NyQuil included in this event. in reference to yours, ma'am, the ages, we have a 15-year-old female, we have an 11-year-old female, we have a 6-year-old male. The 11-year-old female is in critical condition at Herman Hospital. She is in critical care unit. The mother is in critical condition, and I do not have her age right now, I'm sorry. The 15-year-old is in stable condition. She is talking. She is very tired. She is, she's been through a traumatic incident today involving her siblings and her parents, so she's resting well right now, I can say that. The 6-year-old is, the hospital is doing what they can to help him rest and keep him down. He's a 6-year-old child that's ready to get up and move around.
Now, it's unclear what changed from the moment law enforcement arrived to the time that they gave that news conference for them to believe that the mom was allegedly trying to poison her own children. Now, here's what deputies say the father did after calling 911.
I believe it was the dad that was helping get anybody that was in the water out of the water. Upon the deputies arriving, the kids were wet, the dad was wet, and the mother was still in the water. And the deputies are the ones, I believe, that got in and got the mother out of the water.
So right now, you say you're focused on the mom as the suspect or perpetrator?
So right now, we don't have a specific focus on the mom or the dad. We're looking at both and interviewing the dad. We're going to interview the kids through forensic interviews through Bridgehaven and hopefully get some answers as to what the kids tell us, and we can piece the puzzles together. And if all the evidence points towards mom, then we'll move in that direction. If it points towards dad or both, then we'll move in what direction that it leads. We'll go based on what we're told through interviews and all the evidence that we collect here on the scene.
So it's not just the mom that law enforcement is apparently looking at in this case. They also have questions for the dad.
From the time he heard the commotion in the front and the screaming, it would not have taken him that long. The pond is approximately 75 to 100 feet in front of the house, and it happened on the opposite end of the pond from the house, so that would have been about another 150 feet. He did drive a vehicle down to that location. So from the time that he heard the screams and heard what he heard, it did not, I can't give you an answer as to how long it actually took him to get there, but it wouldn't have taken him that long.
So would you say the most accurate description of what happened is that the mother appears to have tried to drown her 3 children and perhaps then threw herself in the water? Is that the theory you're working on?
So I believe that is what came into 911, and that's what happened. So I believe that that's what the dad originally stated when he called 911.
Was that she tried to drown?
That she was doing that, yes, ma'am.
And what did the dad say there was drugs and or other, alcohol?
So the dad was taken from here to our station, to our sheriff's office, and he was interviewed by the Texas Rangers who are assisting in the investigation. And I have not had an opportunity to speak with them in reference to what all the dad has actually said at this time.
But in the initial call, because I'm trying to figure out if you know where the whole NyQuil and alcohol and those things came from. If you say that's not entirely accurate.
That I don't know if that came from patrol arriving on scene and seeing alcohol near the area, or if he stated it when he called 911. That's still up in air. I'm not sure of that at this time.
Sir, what else do we know about their identities or about this family in particular?
So we don't really know a whole lot about the family. We're learning that the kids have not been enrolled in school, and they've not been in school in a little bit. I have been talking with a social worker at Memorial Hermann downtown and CPS that's downtown. We're trying to get forensic interviews set up with the children, the 15-year-old and the 6-year-old now, with Bridgehaven, which is here in Dayton. And so that's really all we know. We're unsure of his actual, where he works. We were told he sells cars, but we have nothing that proves that.
Now, one neighbor told local media outlets that the family kept to themselves. And look, they live down a long road. They have that massive gate, so that might not be a surprise. It is unclear if the children were homeschooled or what the reason was that they weren't enrolled in schools. The deputies also said they had responded to this house in the past for an incident, possibly an assault, but we don't have any more information about that at this point. Child Protective Services have been notified in the wake of what happened at this home yesterday morning. Law enforcement do say they believe that this family bought the property, built the house, and have been living there since 2017. Law enforcement was asked about what they think a possible motive could be.
We're looking into several different aspects, several different angles. We're going to go based on the evidence that we find here and go based on that. And when we can interview, hopefully the mother and the 11-year-old will be able to be interviewed within the next few days. And maybe we can find some answers as to a motive at that point in time. Right now, I can't speculate what that motive is.
Is there the mother have a history of mental issues, or?
I've not been told anything about the mother having any history of mental issues, nor the father, nor any of the kids.
How old is the mother?
That I'm sorry, I don't have that. I meant to grab it before I came down here, but I forgot.
Do we know if they're from this region, if they've been living here for a long period of time?
So we did look into that, and the property was they've owned the property and built the house that they live in now in 2017.
Deputies don't know much about the financial background of this family, like if they were having any sort of issues, but you have to admit it's somewhat odd that they can't confirm what the dad did for work. I mean, you look at this massive home that they owned on this massive property. Now, the deputy was asked about just what stands out to him about this case.
I would describe it as bizarre and breathtaking, seeing everything that we've been faced with today and what the deputies and the investigators had to deal with upon arriving to the scene. The fact of comparing it to others, anytime kids are involved, it's always a heart-wrenching emotion that goes through all of us in law enforcement. And the best thing that we can do right now is pray for the kids and the parents, both of them.
Law enforcement has said there's a Ring doorbell, but it's unclear if it works. There's no surveillance videos on the property. It is unclear if there is any video evidence of what allegedly took place by this pond. And if there isn't, how are they going to be able to string all of this together? Though they say, when ready, interviews with the children, 2 of them are in stable condition, will be very key in putting this case together. Now, the dad is not being detained, and law enforcement have said this about his level of cooperation.
The father rode cooperatively with one of the deputies to our office, and once he was finished being interviewed by the rangers there, then he was given a ride to a family member's house, and so he's been pretty cooperative up to this point.
Can you talk to us about how the Rangers are involved in this investigation?
How they what?
How the Rangers get into the investigation? What is their role in this investigation?
So the Rangers, actually, we're very fortunate in Liberty County to have two Rangers assigned to this area, and both of them actually have offices in our building. And when we get any type of a major type call, whether it's involving death or possible death, serious bodily injury, we always reach out to them, and they're always willing to help. And we utilize them due to the fact that they're attached with DPS, and they have multiple resources of things that we can get and use from them in investigations. So we utilize them when we can and when they're available.
Are you guys investigating this as an attempted murder?
I can't answer that at this point in time. All I can say is right now we have 3 children that one critical, 2 stable. We're praying for the one that's critical, hoping that everything works out good with her. And then whichever direction the investigation leads us with the evidence, then we'll put that out at a later date. it's too early to tell what kind of charges would come on anybody at this point in time.
So again, still a lot of questions we're trying to figure out on this story. It's certainly bizarre. I mean, you heard law enforcement use those words themselves. We do know the Texas Rangers are involved in this investigation. Also, law enforcement did say it's unclear at this point if there are any charges, what those charges would be. But this is definitely a story we're going to stay on top of moving forward. That will do it for On the Case, presented by Law&Crime. Subscribe to us on YouTube and Spotify. I'm Chris Stewart. We'll see you next time.